going on, everyone? John Evans here, and gonna answer a question that I get quite often. Having worked in the soccer world for a little while now as a strength and conditioning coach, mostly with younger athletes at the academy level, you get the question all the time from parents and athletes alike: how do I get faster? How do I get faster as a soccer player? Well, as just my opinion, not coming from the world of soccer originally, I studied sports science and really kind of consider myself a generalist. I would say that a big component of what's happening at the youth level in soccer, especially in America, I can only really speak on here, you see an overemphasis on not necessarily skill development, but really what I would call, I think parents think it's skill development, but ultimately it's really just kind of busy work, cardio, right? There's not a rhyme or reason to anything in terms of the progressions. It's just, hey, this guy's a private coach. He's going to throw in a little fitness component. He's going to do some ball work stuff that looks really cool, but ultimately, in my opinion, doesn't reflect what happens in live game action. And we're going to just kind of focus on that, right? You get these guys, they get in these little groups. That's probably one reason, right? We're not dedicating enough time to developing athletic components, right? Athletic attributes, one of which is speed. And so from there, right, there is a time component. There's almost only so much time to go around, but even the culture of the sport, right? There's a lot of jogging, there's this conditioning cardio focus, but when we really do a needs analysis of the sport, there is an underlying backbone of low intensity kind of steady state activity. In my opinion, they're using that time largely to position themselves on the pitch and or to recover. And then there's intermittent moments of high explosive activity, right? Trying to win a 50-50 ball, shooting, trying to score. Almost 50% of all scoring plays involve a linear sprint before the goal is scored in some capacity, right? So what does that tell you? High intensity ultimately is what's dominating the sport. But there is that component of, everybody reads the articles, soccer players run 7 kilometers, whatever many miles in a game, and that's true. That is 100% true. The distances, obviously, I'm not going to get into, but there are some specifics to how those distances are covered. But to the young soccer player, it's just focus, right? If you want to get faster, you have to put time into getting faster. It's not something that's just going to happen overnight. I mean, you'll get faster as you age and develop physically, but you have to put time and energy into it. So you have to decide, right? I mean, I think that ultimately there's just not enough programming. It's very sporadic training in, the soccer here in America. And, you need to dedicate time to getting faster, right? That's how we separate on the pitch, right? If we want to create space to provide opportunities and lanes for passes and or scoring opportunities, you have to be fast, right? Speed allows that, right? There's technical components, knowledge of the game, skill allows that as well, but a very direct way to do that is just to be faster than the guys around you. Defensively, same concept, right? We want to take that space away, make it uncomfortable for the offense, right? What the attack, we want to make that uncomfortable. We want to take space away. We want to create opportunities to be able to take the ball away. We want to not provide any lanes for them to get a shot on goal. So I think, again, speed, being able to keep up with the players, being able to be right on top of the opposing team is going to allow you to, defense is always harder than offense in most sports, but it's going to allow you more opportunities to prevent them from doing what they're trying to do, which is score. So how would I structure this? I've long-winded my opinions, but how would I structure this? I would say the easiest way is to just dedicate a little time to it, right? Your speed sprint sessions don't have to be long. You don't have to dedicate a ton of time to it and resources. You have to plan around them from an energy standpoint because they are so high intensity that we really don't want to waste that session coming in fatigued from doing 3 a days the day before. But getting in some sprint volume, I would say just kind of some sort of constant loading with your sprints as you develop in age. 100, 120 yards per session, 2 to 3 times a week would be perfect, or if you have a good coach, microdosing it into your warm-ups just to get some total weekly volume of high-intensity runs. Outside of that, I would say the off-season should be that. Work on the things that facilitate your sport, right? The lack of work done in the off-season is paid for in season, right? The sins of summer are answered for in fall. That's a very common phrase that's used in a lot of youth sports. These kids in the summer love the camps and they're fun, and I understand it, and do some camps, right? It's a great time. But if all you're doing is camps, sporadic training, doing some training in the backyard, and your parents, if you're fortunate enough, are paying for some private sessions with a skill coach that's probably doing a lot of just ball work stuff, where are we sprinting? When are we getting high intensity runs in? When are we building that work capacity, right? I mean, we know that hamstring strains are largely attributed to a lack of volume in terms of high intensity sprinting. You have to be very calculated there. You can't do too much, but if we don't do enough in the off season to build the work capacity, to build the general physical output of your body, then you're going to have maybe issues when we get in season, and you're definitely not going to get faster. So I would say ditch the footwork, ditch so much of the agility work. It's a very large component of the sport, but you have to also consider small-sided games compromise a large percentage of any practice here in America. So there's a lot of change of direction. There's a lot of intensity in terms of our agility component within that. So maybe addressing it all the time when we do work on fitness and performance is not a good idea, right? We have to do a needs analysis and look at what's being addressed already in practice. I would say linear sprinting is oftentimes not addressed, and if it is at the end of practice when you're already fatigued, and all we're really doing is conditioning there. We're not working on any sort of component that's going to actually make you faster over 10, 20, 30, 40 yards. So focus, attention, and time. Like anything else, that's how you get better at it. There's some things with terms of programming that I'll get into more on this channel, expressing how I would structure, a youth athletic development program for a soccer athlete and things along those lines. But ultimately, how to get faster if you're a soccer athlete, you got to do it more, and you got to be conscious of your workload. Don't be fatigued 24/7. Most of the athletes I work with are tired all the time. They're doing 2-a-days. Their parents are push. Speed needs special consideration, special time, some planning, but it's going to pay dividends in the end, right? Because it makes you an all-around better athlete, and it opens up opportunities on the field. But that's it. That's my 2 cents. Stay tuned for those other videos. Like I mentioned, if you have any questions on this, you need help with programming, feel free just to email me. There's going to be the link in my account page, or I'll attach some links in my bio as well. Comment down below. Anything, I'll respond to your questions. Always here to help. Stay tuned for the next one. See you guys.